Hey guys, it's JC Theater Yu-Gi-Oh here today, and I'm coming at you with a Crusadia deck profile for you. Now, I do want to preface this video with saying that the Guard Dragon variant is probably the most meta viable, but this variant is straight up the OG Crusadia build with like some Kaiju in it, and the whole purpose is to make Equimax and attack for game on the first turn or as soon as possible. This is definitely like a going second deck mainly, and like I said, this is as pure as I think the deck could run viably. So without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. Okay, so first up for the deck, we have 3 Crusadia Arborea. Now, Crusadia Arborea has an effect like all Crusadias have the first effect, which is if you have a link monster on your side of field, you can special summon them out to a zone the link monster points to in defense position. Crusadia Arborea has the unique effect that if a Crusadia monster you control would be destroyed by battle or a card effect, you can banish her from the field or graveyard instead, which is definitely good. Next up, I play 3 Crusadia Draco. Crusadia Draco, like I said, has the first Crusadia effect, and then it has another effect where when it's special summoned to a zone, or when it's summoned to a zone a link monster points to, you can select a Crusadia in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So that definitely helps recur some monsters, and their special summoning effects from their hand to a zone a link monster points to is once per turn, but if you haven't used that monster's effect, say you normal summon a Crusadia first and then link it away into Magius and then special summon Draco to that zone, then you can add that Crusadia back and then make the Draco and Magius into a Link 2 and then special summon that Crusadia out from your hand. I hope that makes sense. I kind of went on a tangent there for a second, but the point is Draco is definitely a very good card, and that recursion effect is very helpful in the deck. I only play 2 Crusadia Reclusia. Like I said with the others, he has the first Crusadia effect, and when he's summoned to his zone a link monster points to, you can select 1 Crusadia on your side of the field and 1 monster on your opponent's side of the field and destroy, or 1 card on your opponent's side of the field, so it can also be a spell or trap card, and destroy both targets. So he can pop himself if he's like running another deck, or in this deck specifically, you can pop whichever is your worst Crusadia on the field in order to destroy something on your opponent's side of the field. Honestly, because this deck is very much just go all out on the first turn you're able to summon and just attack for game, he doesn't really come up much. But he is another Crusadia name, and he's quite useful at times. Next up, we play 3 Crusadia Leonis. Crusadia Leonis has the first Crusadia effect, and also you can target 1 Crusadia Link monster you control, and if it attacks a defense position monster that turn, inflict piercing damage to your opponent. So Leonis and also the next monster coming up, they affect the Link monster on the field. So this is one of the monsters that you want to kind of end with in order to facilitate a stronger Equimax, basically. Like I said, Leonis pumps up your Link monster, and also Maximus helps get your Link monster some extra effects. Now, Maximus lets you choose a Link monster you control, and that monster, whenever it battles an opponent's monster that turn, your opponent gets dealt double damage. So if you have Equimax pointing to both Leonis and Maximus, or with them on the field, because it doesn't have to be pointing to them, but usually that's the scenario, you just have Maximus's effect and Leonis's effect activate, and Crusadia Equimax can not only deal double battle damage, but also piercing damage, which is very good. And as you'll see a little later, there are also some cards that help out to where he can attack every monster your opponent controls, which is very good. Maximus does have a drawback to where if you use his effect, that's the only monster you control that can attack that turn, but that's okay because Equimax has an effect to where any monster he points to can't attack, so that kind of isn't too bad of a drawback. For some tech choices, I play 2 Jester Confit. He is a free special summon onto the field, and you can just link him into Link Karibo and then start special summoning other Crusadia monsters, so that way you can kind of build up links a little bit even before you do any normal summoning. So Jester Confit is actually a surprisingly good fit for the deck in my opinion. Additionally, I do play the 1 World Legacy World Crown, which has the Crusadia effect of letting you special summon it out to a zone a link monster points to, and World Crown has 2,000 attack because the Crusadia link monsters gain attack equal to the total combined attack of all monsters they point to. So this is one of the best cards to point to that can special summon itself out. Additionally, like I said at the beginning of the video, I am playing Kaiju, so I just play one Dogoran, one Lightning Strike, one Jizukiru, and then one Gameciel for the Kaijus. And then with that, let's just move right into the spell and traps with the 2 Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. For those of you who don't know what it does, Interrupted Kaiju Slumber is a dark hole, and then after you destroy every monster on the field, you can special summon out 2 Kaiju with different names onto the field. You would give your opponent a weaker one and give yourself a stronger one. First up, I play 1 Hornet Drones. Now, the combo with Hornet Drones in the extra deck, all I play in the extra deck for that is the 1, Kagari, in order to special summon out the Sky Striker Ace token. And since it's level 1 Sky Striker monster, you can either go into Link Karibo, or what you would 99% of the time go into is Kagari, and then have Kagari recycle the Hornet Drones back to your hand, and then use the Hornet Drones again, and then get another token for a free Link 2 monster on the field, basically, which is pretty decent. I basically play it with the same thought process in mind as Jester Confit, where it's just like an extra way to get into some Link monsters. Next up, I play 1 Crusadia Power. Crusadia Power basically helps in a defensive way, because you can target 1 Crusadia monster you control, and that Crusadia monster is unaffected by card effects this turn except its own. Additionally, I'm running 3 copies of Called by the Grave, so that way we can protect ourselves at least from hand traps, since this definitely uses a lot of special summoning and searching and all that good stuff. So hand traps, this deck is very susceptible to hand traps. Additionally, because this is a very Link focused deck, I'm also running 2 World Legacy Succession, which just is a monster reborn to a zone a Link monster points to, which is also good for the Crusadias, because some of them have effects that go off when they're special summoned or when they're summoned to zones a Link monster points to. Additionally, I have the OG Monster Reborn, and also a Raigeki. Next up, another is 1 Terraforming, and that Terraforming can either search Crusadia Revival, which Revival, all Crusadia monsters on the field gain 500 attack, and once per turn you can target a Crusadia Link monster you control, and that turn it can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. You may be saying, why are you running a Terraforming and a Crusadia Revival? You could just run 2 Crusadia Revivals. But I'm actually running another field spell card, which is Black Garden. Black Garden, let me just fix this a little bit. Black Garden is a very interesting tech choice for the deck that I saw right when the deck not first came out, but definitely in its early stages before the Guard Dragons were released or anything. So basically what Black Garden does is that you're special summoning a lot with Crusadias. Black Garden is purely to special summon out a bunch of these Rose tokens to your opponent's side of the field that have 800 attack and defense. So that way when you go for game with Equimax and you have that piercing damage, that double battle damage and everything, you destroy your opponent. The thing is, you have to kind of work it to where you have to either protect Crusadia Equimax with either Crusadia Power, or with just simply using the Crusadia Revival field spell over Black Garden before you summon out Equimax, which is usually what I do. But for the most part, it does conflict in a way, but when this card goes off and your opponent has 5 Rose tokens on the field with 800 defense, and you just attack each one of them for game, it's definitely very satisfying, and I've found it to be very effective when it goes off. And finally, for the last 3 cards in the deck, I run the 3 Inferno Reckless Summon, another spicy card. This lets you, when exactly 1 monster with 1500 or less attack is special summoned to your field while your opponent controls a face-up monster, you special summon as many monsters as possible with the same name as the summoned monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard in attack position, and also your opponent special summons as many monsters as possible with the same name as one of their face-up monsters from their hand, deck, or graveyard. Here's the deal with this. It's definitely a super double-edged sword if you don't play it correctly. So with the Crusadia monsters, because they freely special summon themselves out, basically, and all the Link monsters gain attack equal to the Crusadias, a lot of them have less than 1500 attack. So you just do your normal plays and special summon out one Crusadia, and then you use Inferno Reckless Summon to special summon out 2 more copies of that to go into much bigger Link plays. And additionally, you want to optimally use this either when your opponent has like one of monster, or like an extra deck monster, or something weird like that where you know they can't special summon any more copies, or if you already used your Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, or just used any Kaiju in general from your hand, you can simply do it then when they only have the Kaiju, so that way they can't special summon any other monster from their hand, deck, or graveyard. So first up for the extra deck, I play 3 Crusadia Magius. Now, Magius has an effect. Its first effect is just like all the other Crusadia Link monsters, where he gains attack equal to the total attack of monsters he points to, and then any monster it points to cannot attack itself. So basically all the Crusadia Links have this effect, and then his unique effect is that when an effect monster is special summoned to a zone Magius points to, which is just the 1 down zone, you can search your deck for a Crusadia monster and add it to your hand. I was mistaken earlier in the profile when I said Spell or Trap. That's actually going to be Regulex, which is the Link 2 Crusadia monster. And I'm sorry, Crusadia Magius just takes 1 Crusadia monster, and it's a Link 1. So Regulex, being a Link 2 Crusadia monster, like I said, he has the same first effect, but this time he's also pointing to an opponent's monster. So that's where the Kaijus come in handy, where you can special summon them onto the field in the zone that your Crusadia will be pointing to. Additionally, I play 1 Crusadia Spatha. Now, Crusadia Spatha is interesting and quite good in the Guard Dragon variant specifically, but it's also a Link 2 Crusadia monster with the same first effect, and then the other effect is once per turn if an effect monster is special summoned to a zone she points to, you can target 1 monster in either player's main monster zone except Spatha and move it to another main monster zone. The interesting play here is notice how Spatha is a Link 2 with 1 downward arrow. You can special summon out a Crusadia monster to that zone, and then use Spatha's effect to move it over in order to special summon out another Crusadia monster to that zone. And then you can go into a Link 4 or something else like that. But the point is, it's very good with like opening a zone for more Crusadias to special summon themselves out, and I think that's very cool. Finally, the main Crusadia is 2 Crusadia Equimax. Equimax, like I said, has the same first effect, but this time he has 2000 attack on top of the total attack of any monster he points to, which he has 3 arrows. Additionally to that, he has a quick effect where you can tribute 1 Crusadia or World Legacy monster that he points to target 1 face-up card your opponent controls and negate its effects until the end of the turn. Even though that's a thing, Crusadia Equimax honestly doesn't use it too much. For the most part, he wants to keep all the monsters he points to, or the 2 on your field that he points to, because you can't tribute your opponent's monster, in order to just have as much attack as possible to just blast through your opponent's life, to your opponent's life points to end them. And then finally, the last Crusadia monster, which I don't even really consider sometimes a Crusadia monster, is Mech Knight Crusadia Avramax. And for some other generic Link monsters, I play the 1 Link Karibo, the Kagari, and the Hayate play, which is Kagari first and then you end with Hayate and a token or something like that. Hayate is just there for the downward pointing arrow if you need it. And then for some other generics, we play 1 Boral Load and 1 Boral Sword. And finally, because we do have quite a few level 3 Crusadias, I actually run Acid Golem of Destruction. Little backstory. This is the last promo in the physical print of the Shonen Jump magazine before they went to, the app where you only get the promos in the game. Like, this was actually, like, in Walmart in the plastic wrap, like in the actual physical print. And I have a fond memory with it because of that. And in addition, it's just actually kind of decent because it is a 3,000 attack monster that it has a drawback where it can't attack if it doesn't have materials onto it. But the thing is, it's 3,000 attack, and you can just have it special summon to a zone your Equimax points to for plus 3,000 attack, which is quite good. If the Kaijus don't work out to where he's pointing to Kaijus and stuff, or if he's pointing to an opponent's Kaiju you gave them, he has a Kaiju that he's pointing to. This can be the other card he's pointing to for some great damage. I saw someone else tech this into their variant, and I thought it was very good. So here it is. So that was my Crusadia deck profile for you guys. I definitely think it's very cool that Konami decided to, in the Megatins, bling this deck out, because I know it is very like deep into the lore that the Vrains era like gave with their cards and stuff, and the deck is very cool. So thank you so much for watching this deck profile, guys. Let me know any suggestions down in the comments below, and if you liked the video, please consider subscribing. I'm JC Theater Yu-Gi-Oh! See ya!